Well, right now we have on with us, this is a really exciting candidate for me. He's been pushing hard for his district. His name is Mark Reed. He's running for the United States Congress, District number 30. I take a little piece off of their websites, the candidates' websites, because I think it's important for you to get to know them and then hear what they have to say. Because and by the way, that doesn't exempt you from going to his website later and learning more about him. Everybody who lives in his district, or if you know people who live in his district, please do that and share the good information about this strong candidate. His website says that Mark Reed, right there, sitting there looking at you right now, is a native Californian born and raised in the San Fernando Valley, a suburb of Los Angeles, California. Mark is a descendant of the Mohawk and Apache tribes, mixed with German, English, Spanish, and French. He graduated from El Camino Real High School. He went on to study architectural drafting at Pierce Junior College. And pretty much the gist of it is this. We always talk about family. Family is at the core of everything that we do. And we really have to get back to those family values and those base concepts. But beyond that, he is, a small businessman. When I read about his background, he bought his first own company at 26 years old. Okay? Not only did he buy one company, then he moved on to a second company. Then he decided to sell off those two companies and buy yet another company. This man knows business. He really is a smart guy. And how smart is he? He married the love of his life. He did. This is an excerpt from his website. Mark is a dedicated family man. Reed married Nina, his childhood sweetheart, on August 19th, 1978. They have 3 adult children. And check this out, okay? They have 10 beautiful grandchildren. Welcome to the Aaron Cruz Show, Mark. That's where it's all at, family. What can we do to work for our families and for our communities?
Families are the cornerstone of America, if you really think about it. This is why you really need businessmen and family men representing you in Washington, D.C., because if you don't have your own nucleus family, your own children, you are a child of somebody. So families are the cornerstone. Everything comes from that decision process. So when you look at that, you say, okay, this is why the left is making such a big thing about sexual harassment and the allegations that are taking place right now, because who wants somebody harassing your daughter, your wife, your mother, your sister in an office? Who wants that? Nobody does. So, everything, all your decisions are based on family.
Right. Because really, when they bring up things like that, they pretty much take you to the space where you think, well, why would we want somebody like that in office or doing a position or taking a leadership role? They basically go at the core of who we are, and they just want to tear it apart. They did that, when I say they, the media and different individuals went and did that with Herman Cain. Okay?
Yep.
They did that with Donald Trump. Okay? Yep. They didn't stop. They're trying to do stuff with Kavanaugh. And look at Judge Roy Moore. Anything that they can do to tear apart your value systems and break it down to a space where people can't trust you, because that's where it really comes down to is trust.
Yeah, and this is where the progressive left has been working on this for decades. And I don't say the Democrats anymore, because the Democrats of today, the Democrats today are the new Republican. You really meet them, you start talking to them, and they have the same values as the Republicans have. Because the progressive left, they do not like family. They do not like America. They do not like the free marketplace. They want socialism. They'll come right out and tell you they want socialism.
Like Gavin Newsom did the other day.
Absolutely. Well, Jim Carrey came out and said, look, we got to stop beating around the bush. Let's just call it for what it is. Let's be proud of what we are. We are socialists.
He can go back to Canada.
That's what they want in this country. And, by Winston Churchill's own mouth, socialism is the equal sharing of misery.
It doesn't work. It hasn't anywhere, we've never seen a success from that. And certainly Venezuelans would agree with that as well. You're going to be you're running right now for United States Congress. You ran previously and you had a tight margin. You have a strong chance at taking this seat. and working and representing the constituency in D.C. I mean, are they making it difficult for you?
They absolutely are. Brad Sherman at this moment, he's the one I'm running against. And yes, I have a really great name recognition in the district. Because of all these sexual scandals that are going on, he's ranked the #2 meanest congressman in Washington, D.C. He has a 50% staff turnover rate yearly. Matt Dabobny, his last chief of staff, had to step down from the state assembly because of rape allegations and sexual harassment allegations while he was working in Sherman's office, mind you. This was not afterwards. This was while he was working in there. There's another congressman that's being sued right now for rape allegations of a 16-year-old that came out of Sherman's office. There's another state assemblyman that came out that had to step down because of sexual harassment allegations out of Sherman's office. And there's several articles about Brad Sherman and his hostile, mean-spirited, treatment of his staff in his office. This is the guy that really fits the profile of a predator. He really does. Well, and on top of that,
go ahead.
Because Aaron, that these kind of people are cowards, right? Okay, he said that he will debate me if the League of Women Voters would put on the debates. Okay, we have 4 venues, and they've requested 4 debates, and you know what? He doesn't want to do them because he's a coward, and he has no respect for women. If you had respect for women and an organization called the League of Women Voters contacted you, wouldn't you jump at the opportunity to talk to the women in your district? No, this guy's a coward. He does not want to talk to the women in his district because he's abused them.
Well, and here's the deal. If anyone contacted him and said, hey, this is our district, we want to see debate, at least a forum, would you be present, would you attend, and they give him notice, he is a representative of that district. I believe he has a moral and ethical responsibility to answer the call. And if he can't, he has a conflict, schedule another date. But they have an obligation, a duty, especially because he's an elected official and he wants to be reelected. He should do so. Women or no women.
If it was a $2,500 a plate dinner fundraiser, he'd be there, Johnny, on the spot.
It comes down to money.
Yes.
What a
but
shame.
Let's not beat him up anymore. Let's talk about the district a little bit.
But that's getting down to the issues of letting the people hear their electeds. And that's why we're so glad that you came on the Aaron Cruz Show, because that's what people want to know. They want to know, what will you be able to do better for us, work harder for us, to be able to help us get out from under this oppression of giant, big, bloated government. I mean, what are you going to do different? And you get to do that right now. You get to share with them how you would represent them better. And if you could please expand, share.
Well, the first thing is really representing the district and all the people in the district, and not just my party. I've been at odds with my own party because I don't vote the way they want me to vote. I'm not a party hack, and I've never been basically a hack, a yes person. And all the board of directors of different organizations that I've been on, no, everything has to carry its own water. Now, when I say you represent the district, a representative represents his district, then his county, then his state, then his country, and it has to be in that order. So the first thing I'll do, way better than Brad Sherman, is represent the district. Now, what's happening in the district? We have a massive homelessness problem. We know that through the state of California. We know that in the county of Los Angeles. There's a massive homelessness problem. Well, that is caused by drug addictions, mental health care needs, and the people who fall on hard times, who need some vocational training and some transitional housing. But that's simplifying it, because there's a lot of layers.
Right, there's a lot to that.
Each one of them. So I have a very detailed plan on my website to create federal intake centers where you bring the homeless people in, you give them a full assessment of mental health care needs, drug rehabilitation needs, and or just vocational training, transitional housing to help them back up on their feet. This is something that has to be done. And like I said, I won't get completely into it. There's a detailed plan.
We'll give people who are listening right now, this is Mark Reed. We're going to give you his website at the end of the show where you can, and it's also in the comments down below. Mark wants to just give you a little bit of an idea of what his plans are, and you can find out the details on his website. But go on, Mark. Go.
Well, and then we also dive into the drug rehabilitation. We see this as a for-profit issue that's going on in the county of Los Angeles and the state of California. And there's been a tremendous amount of legislation on the federal level that has released billions of dollars for opioid and fentanyl overdoses that are going on, because one person overdoses every 3 minutes in the United States because of those two drugs alone. And they want to talk about impeaching Donald Trump. They want to talk about guns and gun control because it's killing so many people. Drug overdose right now, one person every 3 minutes dies from a drug overdose.
And yet they want injection centers, safe injection centers up in San Francisco and other areas. I mean, it's madness.
It is complete madness. They're giving into it, and they're inability. What do you call that?
They're giving into it, but then they also have a solution. So government wants to cover its bases. They want money to be able to give into it, and they want money to help them fix it.
Well, what they want is they want votes. They want to act like they're doing something, and they're not going to do anything. They want votes. While they're living in their guarded, gated communities with their armed guards in their yards, they don't care about the people. Okay, right. So drug rehabilitation, I have a very detailed plan there as well, because we know the 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, even the one-year programs don't work. I've been around drug addiction and drug rehabilitation for years. My son is a drug addict. Some of my brothers and sisters got into drugs as well. So I'm very familiar with the devastation that it has on a family unit, what it has on the community, what it has on an individual. So looking at it from a real rehabilitation.
People. We need real solutions, right?
We need real solutions. So we need real programs. I have a 2-year program, a 3-year program, and a 5-year program. If a drug addict goes through the 5-year program, they will get the full benefit of a real rehabilitation program, which is unhandcuffing them from their past. Their complete record will be changed. Their whole lives will start completely over again. So these are real solutions to the problems we're dealing with, rather than the Band-Aids that they're being offered now. Because the Band-Aids they're offering now is leaving the worst of the worst on the streets, the people who have real mental health care needs. And that's where the feds have to dive back into short-term and long-term hospitals that will give the mental patients the help that they need, the counseling they need, the reprogramming they need. And if it's drugs they need to get reprogrammed, then we need to give them those. But they really need psychotherapy that's going to work. And you can't do that based on the new program that Jerry Brown just passed, and that is a judge can order you, if they figure out you're a mental health care, and they can order you to 2 months worth of mental health care, counseling. Well, what is 2 months going to do? Nothing, right? They can order up to 2 years, but you know that's not going to work. They're sitting on $8.5 billion in Sacramento. They're sitting on $6.75 billion here in LA County. Mm-hmm. They're not utilizing it with real solutions. I'm going to go to DC, and I'm going to bring back real solutions and real programs. Those are the things that I'm going to do different than Brad Sherman. Brad Sherman is just interested in just being a congressman, collecting his check.
Right.
And abusing women.
Well, it sounds like he's up to not a lot of good for the constituents in the district, that's for sure. No. Anybody who has a mind and can think for themselves should be able to go to your website and determine whether or not they should give you a shot, which is a fair chance for them to do, and get out from the space of do-nothing politicians or do-for-themselves politicians.
Absolutely.
So now, where do you stand on things like immigration reform? Because that's a national security issue. There are two parts of it, but one of building the wall, technology infrastructure, and manpower down at the border. Where do you stand on some of these issues?
Well, border security is national security. Immigration is a whole different.
Right, that's a separate issue, but we'll go back to that. We'll talk about the one.
So looking at border security, yes, building a wall, building infrastructure, increasing border security it's paramount. It's number one. President Reagan found out, dealing with the Democrats at that time, if you gave the amnesty, you gave them the perks, they're not going to follow through and secure the border. So securing the border does have to be number one. If you look at the major issues pertaining to immigration, we have to stop taking asylum requests or applications at the border. That should stop now. We should have real embassies in Central America, Mexico, and South America, and the 5 major countries down there. Have real embassies to take the asylum requests. And if these people are in real danger, you house them there. Once the asylum request goes through, we can fly them over here, bus them over here, or whatever. but we have 700,000 asylum requests that are not processed now, because what they do is they have a bunch of people basically rush the border. They go across countries, breaking their immigration laws as well. They hit the border here with all of their, how would you say, coaching that's done by immigration lawyers. Say this, say that, say this, say that.
They're abusing our systems. They're
abusing the system completely. So we have to look at that and say, okay, that's the first thing that has to stop right off the bat. We have to stop right there. Okay, then I've said flat out, we have to have new policies, economic policies that will support an economic infrastructure that creates a lifestyle down in Central America, South America, and Mexico that's worth living there. Because what's the attraction to the United States? It's called making money. So if we have different economic policies, which Donald Trump did by redoing the NAFTA agreement completely, why isn't that being touted highly by the far left? They have to produce 40% of all auto parts by workers that are making a minimum of $16 an hour. That's $1 more than what they requested here at $15 an hour.
Right.
So he's on the right track of making the right policies. And I'm glad to see somebody's finally got the pants on and saying, look, we want balanced and fair trade. We don't want to cut trade. We want balanced and fair trade. And on top of it, we don't want to abuse your workers either. So you got to pay them this much money. So I think it's fantastic what's going on.
I'm glad to hear that you support the president in that initiative, because the way I see it is when we put America first and we start making these tough decisions and these hard calls, we're also putting other people first, because, when America does well, other countries do well.
Absolutely.
It's snowball effect. So,
we have the number one economy in the world, so we're sharing it. When we do the right things, we're sharing it. Now, you can't blame Donald Trump was just on the news today with I'm trying to think of who's he with? Poland. With Poland, exactly. And he was saying flat out, look, Donald Trump came into my office and he said America first, and the ambassador, not the president of Poland, was saying, look, Poland first. We understand.
Of course, Poland's going to put Poland first.
Poland's number one. America's number one. So how do you come to a deal that benefits both? That's called moral economics, when both people win. In the past, on both sides of the aisle, they have really made lousy deals, lousy economic deals, lousy trade deals, because they've always put America behind because some kind of guilt that they have in their head for us being the number one economy. Look, we have the number one workforce. We have the number one manufacturing base. We have the number one of everything. We can share it by having the right deals in place, the right trade in place. And that's what this administration is doing. People think it's just Donald Trump. It's not just Donald Trump. You got to think about the CEO of a company sets the tone and the direction. Everybody working underneath him. He has the incredible talented team that's putting all of this together. You look at Mike Pompeo. Unbelievable what this guy is doing. It's not Donald Trump in there making every single deal. No, he has got the best people that you can find in America making the deals for America. In every other administration prior to that, like the disaster of John Kerry and Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State, my God, they gave America away.
Well, and even we saw with Barack Obama just recently, all he talks about is how horrible Donald Trump is, and how he doesn't have anything good to say about how strong America can be when we make good deals. He should be applauding Donald Trump. It just blows my mind that with our economy starting to boom, our unemployment is down. There's so many markers that are at a positive space. Yeah. And yet he has nothing to say positive about Donald Trump, and we're going on year 2, right? And he's taking credit for it.
Well, Aaron, you had the wonderful
These are the kinds of people we're up against.
Well, Aaron, you had the wonderful opportunity running for public office.
Absolutely.
People fit in 2 categories, okay? Category A, people who get things done. Category B, people who take credit for the things that get done. It's far easier to be in Category A because there's less competition. The people on that support Barack Obama, all they can do is tear stuff down.
Right.
There's a great speech that was given by the founder of Amway. It's called The Selling of America. Everybody should listen to that speech. It talks about, how do you see America? How do you perceive America? We're the greatest nation on the face of the earth. We have the
are.
greatest roadways, the greatest cars. We can go out and buy anything we want. We are richer than anybody by per capita, by the individual income. We are rich. You know, I don't want to repeat Newt Gingrich's comment about, wealth or poverty doesn't exist in America, because poverty is only a lifetime of bad choices. That's all it is. Because you can make money here in America going out and cutting lawns. That's what I was taught that by a Hispanic friend of mine in grade school, Mr. Soso. I went out working with him, cutting lawns. He put all of his children through private school, cutting lawns, and he was an immigrant from Mexico. Came here, that's all he did. He had a landscaping route that he did.
Right.
Hard-working person. When you can go out and make money doing that, right? Just being a hard, dedicated father and a hard worker, you're adding to the fabric and the success of America. This is what America's about, because unions didn't build America. Politicians didn't build America. Individuals built America.
Right, absolutely.
That circles right back to our original comments in the beginning. Families. Families are what build America, and that very fabric. This is why the left continues to say, oh, you're not morally fit to hold office. Well, you celebrated Barney Frank in office. You celebrated, Bill Clinton in office and what he did. You celebrate, Kennedy's and what they did. Yeah, I mean, Harvey Weinstein, all the rest of them. You can go down a litany of people that they celebrate that are so immoral. Okay, it makes the devil look like Mother Teresa.
Yeah. Well, the tides are changing and shifting. Right now, like you talked about, and we often say, the progressive left is alienating the Democrats within the Democrat Party. And 100%. I'm seeing a huge shift in people understanding that they have options. And they don't have to vote for a Democrat because it says D anymore. I mean, there are people who still do, but really that association, it's not paying dividends. It's not helping them. It's not making their life better. And so we have that whole walk-away movement. And people who are saying, I can't vote for these immoral, unethical people who aren't helping, serving. They aren't doing the job. They aren't doing anything for my community. And they're voting Republican. We saw that with President Donald Trump. It's phenomenal. So I would urge people, if you're, not just Republicans, if you're independents, libertarians, Democrats, take a look at Mark Reed's platform. He's got a lot of information on his website. If you have questions after reading his website, send him a message. Give him a call.
Well, my email and my cell phone number are on my website, because I talk to anybody in the district. That's what a congressman or representative is supposed to do.
Right.
But it's not about voting Republican or Democrat. You know that, Aaron? It's
not about the D or R.
No, it's not. It's about voting your own personal values. I go out in the district and I'll ask people, what does the federal government do for you? And they'll sit back and, nothing. Okay. The reason why you think they do nothing is because your congressman is doing nothing for you. The federal government can do a lot. They have HUD money. They have all kinds of programs that can help you out in emergent times. They have all kinds of programs they just passed for mental health care, for drug addictions. They've got all kinds of things they can do. But do you really have an advocate in your district pushing for you in your interest? Or is your representative bringing the voice of D.C. back here?
Right.
If your representative is only bringing the D.C. voice to you, then you've got the wrong guy. I want my congressman to bring my voice to D.C., period.
Absolutely.
I want them to know I exist. And if you vote for me, let me tell you, the other 434 congressmen are going to know that the San Fernando Valley does exist.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't exist because it's the world, how would you say, the world, what do you call it? It's the porn industry. It's world renowned for the porn industry. So we're going to be renowned for the military families and the families of the San Fernando Valley, because that's what this part of the valley was built on, was World War II veterans. So I can get into the whole thing on that one. We have one of the last, this is one of my biggest parts of my platform as well, is the veterans.
I was reading that.
Yeah, because we have the Sepulveda VA there, and I am dedicated on November 7th as Congressman-elect. I will be contacting the director of the VA putting in my request and finding out exactly how to take the Sepulveda VA out of the Long Beach district and making it a standalone Veterans Hospital with its own budget. The next meeting I'm going to have is the committee chairman of the Armed Services Committee asking for $200 million in order to create its own budget process and getting the staff in there to reopen the emergency room and reopen the surgical rooms that are there.
Now, for the people who are listening right now, what you're talking about is essentially a VA facility and space where they want to get rid of it.
That's what Sherman's been doing. He wants to shut it down. That's all there is to it. Mine is the complete opposite. I want to bring it back to the lustering, shining city on top of the hill in the San Fernando Valley, honoring the veterans that give us the right to, how would you say, do what we do in America, and that's be exceptional.
Right, and be exceptional.
This is what has to happen here, and I'll get it done. There's no questions about it that I'll get it done.
Right. Well, our veterans, some of them gave all, and they won't ever. I mean, they didn't even have the opportunity to be treated with any sort of health care. They paid the ultimate price. And then there are those who came back home. And at this point, many of them have been let fall behind and not been cared for and given the respect and care that they deserve. We have to take care of them.
My family's cashed the check 4 times. I've got a brother buried in West LA. I have another brother buried over in Hawaii, and I have 2 cousins buried in the battleship Arizona when it was sunk in Pearl Harbor. So we know what it is. The saddest thing is in the Sepulveda VA, and I pick on the VA, the Sepulveda VA, not the entire VA system, the Sepulveda VA, because again, my focus is going to be the district.
Right.
And that VA is in my district. You have 3 trained psychologists handling almost 6,000 patients. They have terminated the internship program there. They're not taking on any new psychologists. They're not taking on any interns. But these 3 psychologists have 6,000 patients that they have to handle.
Right.
You think that's even right or even close? No.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Almost. Yeah. I mean, it's unconscionable that you would expect that these people would be well suited and treated. I mean, with their afflictions. I mean, these are seriously traumatized individuals who need expert care, and there's no way that they can adequately serve these individuals. That brings me to the point where I believe that veterans also, in the case where they can't get quality care or the type of care that they need, should be able to have also a bridge to other healthcare services outside of the VA system, because we need to make sure that these people, no matter where they are on our soil, receive the best care that they can get. They committed to fighting, putting their life on the line for our country.
Yep.
And in your district, it sounds like you have that vision. And by the way, I'm sure that hospital would also be able to serve the surrounding areas as well, those veterans who...
Serves the entire Antelope Valley and Palmdale, Lancaster, even people from Bakersfield come down.
And they need resources.
Yes, they do.
They need resources.
See, I've always thought, Donald Trump has been pushing the choice program and furthering it out. I've always believed that you should be assessed completely once you go to boot out, and we need to really revamp the boot out system.
Right. There's a lot that needs to be done.
Absolutely. But I've always said that you should be completely assessed when you're booted out, and you should be given a platinum card. If you want to go to the VA, you go to the VA. If you don't want to go to the VA, you go to your own doctor. And the VA system becomes more of a paymaster to doctors that our veterans want to go to.
Right.
Because let me tell you, most of them don't want to go to the VA systems because they're so backwards. Now, there are some great hospitals out there in the VA system, in the VHA system.
Right.
I'm not knocking them all, but there are some that are so underserving our veterans, like the Sepulveda VA. That is a beautiful facility, a beautiful piece of property. And it goes beyond, Aaron, I don't know if you belong to any clubs, right? But the VAs are not just a hospital. It's a club where you have older combat veterans, okay, that have worked through the system. They understand all the PTSD. They understand all of the landmines mentally and physically.
Right.
We have new ones coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq, and we're probably going to be getting into some other garbage here pretty soon. Those veterans are going to come back. Who better than to have that sovereignty of that facility to go to and talk to some older combat veterans that know exactly what you're going through. And they can sit down with you like a brother, like a real blood brother, and talk to you about it and help you through that system. That's what the VA system is about. It's not about just services.
Right, and just health care. It's treating the whole person. Yes.
It's the ultimate 3%ers club. That's what it really boils down to. And it's men and women, mind you. It's not just men. You know, there's my niece, was in the National Guard, and she got called up into Afghanistan, and she saw some serious stuff going on. I got some really good female Marine friends of mine that was in Afghanistan and Iraq.
Right.
But you see that, and you realize it goes beyond the VHA and the VA systems. And it really is it's a unit of people that really relate to one another, and sometimes they don't even have to talk. They know exactly what's going on in each other. And that's the system that's got to be preserved. That's the clubs that have to be preserved. A lot of the American Legion Halls and the VFWs support my campaign as well, because they know I understand it fully. They know that I get it. They know my family. They know what we've been through. And so they back and support me 1,000%. So it goes, like I said, it goes beyond just services. If you just look at that, well, then the VA is just an insurance company. It's really a messed up one, but it's not that. It goes way beyond it.
Right, and it's, you know what though, I've heard good stories about the VA. I've heard really bad stories about the VA. It is a mixed bag. And when it comes to our veterans, we can't afford to have a mixed bag. And even when it comes down to our citizens, they need to have options for health care and choices. Our people deserve representatives who are going to serve them, serve their interests, and know and see that they deserve better. I mean, and I'm so glad to hear that you see that connectivity and you have those relationships with the American Legion, with the VFW and these other groups, because that's what it's about. It's about connecting people, and especially as you're relating to veterans, it's so vital. We're getting to the end of the show right now, and I think that is really important for people because, hey, I don't live in your district, but I might know somebody who does. Or I might have a friend who says, oh no, but you know what? My girlfriend lives there. But right now we need to make sure that people who do live there get your information. Could you provide your website address and just a really quick clip about your platform?
Absolutely. Website address is markreedforcongress.com. Facebook is markreed2018. Twitter handle is @markreed1776. Very befitting.
Love it.
But my platform is real simple. I'm here to serve you, and it's going to be my honor to serve the district. And it goes way beyond the party. Like I said, you're serving the people's interests, you're serving the district's interest, and that's it. That's my biggest part of the platform. And the fact that I married, I met my wife when I was 11. I gave her a promise ring at 16. We married at 21. We celebrated our 41st wedding anniversary with 3 adult children, 10 grandchildren. I come from a military family that my parents, they lived to their 71st wedding anniversary. They married at 21 years old, and they had 11 children. This is the hallmark of what America is about. It's hardworking, dedicated men and women that love their community, love their families, and are going to fight for it. And that's what I want the opportunity. Now, people who are sitting there, people that are listening to your show, they say, well, I can't vote for him. My vote will affect you. So the way in which you support me and the way in which you vote for me is by logging onto my website and donating some money, because that's how I get to my district. That's how I get to my constituents, is I have to have that money. So if you can send $20, $50, $100, or if you're really well off, living high on the hog, you can send $2,700 in.
Right.
But the reality of it is this is what is going to help us win. Now, everybody's heard the cliche, as California goes, the nation goes.
So goes the nation, yes.
Yeah, so if you don't like the way California is going, let's have the epicenter of a revival right here in the San Fernando Valley, and let's get me elected, because we're going to win it.
Thank you, Mark Reed. I mean, you hear it, folks. You hear it for yourself. He just gave you the website. Get connected. Get dialed in. Time, talent, treasure. and sounds like Mark Reed could use all of them. So God bless you, Mark. Godspeed, and thank you for coming on the Aaron Cruz Show.
Thank you. God bless you. God bless America.